Out to the Bud Light guest line. All guests appear on the Bud Light guest line. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Andrew Bogut, championship center for the Golden State Warriors. Andrew, thank you so much for joining us, man. Really appreciate it.
No worries. Thanks.
Hey, the Warriors gave up essentially today on a young big man, James Wiseman. Didn't have a lot of experience. Why do you think the Warriors did that?
I don't know the specifics of it, but I assume there's some frustration probably from Wiseman and his camp with his role and the way he's been playing or utilised probably. And I said from the start, I just don't think Wiseman was a great fit for the Warriors system. I think I can't call Wiseman. I wouldn't call Wiseman a bust just yet, based on the season he's had with the Warriors. Because playing that 5 spot with the Warriors, it's unique, it's different, right?
Right.
You got to kind of know the game. You got to read the game. You got to read spacing. You got to kind of have a decent IQ. And he's still young and developing, and his skill set probably wasn't suited towards that. Now that he's gone to Detroit, and he's gonna get some touches, and maybe they'll allow him to play through 10 or 15 touches in the post, make or miss, and let him play through those mistakes. I think then we'll see where he's really at as a player. So I think it was the right move for Wiseman's career. I think the Warriors were good enough to let him move on and get on with life.
Andrew, we're talking about. I mean, you were a big. You hit the ground running. You know what it takes to be a active, successful big in the league. When you laid eyes on James Wiseman, can you share with us your first initial thoughts? Because I'm telling Steiny, he's got to go get that dog. But some people just, you're born with it or you don't have it. How easy or difficult is it that for him to go get that nasty?
Oh, it's something you got to get along the way, or everyone's personalities are different. But yeah, who knows? He wasn't playing the minutes he was playing to probably feel like he could exert that. I don't know. I'm not sure. I didn't watch a whole lot of him in college to be honest with you, to know if he had that in college. But at the 5 spot in the NBA, even at the 4 spot, you could argue you need that. You got to have guys that try to push your buttons. And my era was Ben Wallace and Kevin Garnett and these kind of guys that Rasheed Wallace, guys that would go after you and push your buttons and see how you'd react. So you need a bit of that dog and that mentality and that fight back, especially at the 4 and 5 spot. You can kind of get away with it at the guard spot sometimes, but at the big spots, you definitely need it.
Andrew Bogut joining us on the Bud Light guest line on 95.7 The Game. Andrew, let me just summarize my partner and me. I'm looking at this Warrior team this year. They're a 500 team. They haven't had a consistent stretch all year in which they've displayed any kind of championship not pedigree, but championship potential. But you got to respect their pedigree, especially because they did it last year. I say, but man, they started 18-2 last year. They were 41-13. They knew they had something after. Do you think they can win a title if they're going into the postseason as a 6 or 7, knowing that they're going to have to run the table with a really incredible 10-week stretch of basketball?
Yeah, look, it's always hard to flip that switch. You do need some momentum and some consistency. I'm sure Steve's aware of that. They've had some issues with injuries, and once again, Steph being out doesn't help. They were even hot and cold kind of with Steph in the lineup. But I guess once they get some continuity, hopefully Steph's back sooner rather than later, hopefully post-All-Star or a couple of weeks post-All-Star, depending on how that injury is, and they just get some consistency. They're still a dangerous team. Look, you from the play-in makes it a bit harder where they're at now. They're in 9th in the West, and they could potentially go to 4th, 10th if they lose a game or two again. But if they sneak into 5 or 6, I still, if I'm a 1, 2, 3, 4 seed, I don't want to play them. I think they really strategize playoff series as well. They really make good adjustments, and they've got some killers on that team that have been there. So that's the one team, below maybe 5 or 6 that you do not want to see. But I think they do need to get a bit of consistency. But that comes down to injuries. It comes down to a bit of luck as well. So it's going to be really interesting to see if they can put that switch that quickly post All-Star break.
Andrew, I don't got to tell you there's a lot of politics for players remaining in the NBA and things that go down, but a lot of people tell me I need to stop drinking at work, and I'm not, because the Warriors are small. And, I'm getting nervous that they're so small. And last year in the first round, they played Denver, and DeMarcus Cousins helped the Nuggets. He's not in the league. He's not doing anything. So I just told my partner here, why wouldn't the Warriors try to go find something for nothing that would be cheap, just a big body, maybe to rebound? Does that sound crazy? And I don't know what, Cousins is doing now, but when I bring his name up, does that just sound crazy to you, Andrew?
I mean, the Cousins thing, yeah. I mean, look, they'll definitely need it. I think they'll shore something up post-trade deadline. Once those buyouts start happening, there's a couple of unhappy bets somewhere around the league. I think they'll find someone. The Cousins thing, I think, having him there already and the way that all played out, I don't think that'll happen again. But I agree with you. I think they'll wait. There's still time. There'll be some players that fall out of stead with their current teams for whatever reason. It might be a role. It might be injuries. It might be a team that's just bad, so they just release you and let you go to a championship team. So I think they'll find someone in that market. They definitely need to shore it up. But look, the way the league is now, there's not a whole lot of big men. I mean, the one you got to worry about is Jokic. So you face the Nuggets, you definitely want that. But Jokic isn't really a traditional, absolutely kill you on the block. Although when the Warriors play him, they put Draymond on Jokic, then he does float down to the block. So you will need a bit of muscle there, especially with foul trouble and whatnot. And then really the only other big you got to really worry about is probably Embiid, and he's out in the East. So they're the two that I'd really worry about as far as needing kind of some strength and size.
Let me ask you this, Andrew, before I let you go. You just turned 38.
Uh-oh.
Are you definitely all done?
No. Yes. I'm long done. I haven't been on a basketball court since 2020. So, I'm happy with retirement. My body's finally feeling good, where I can kind of play with my kids and do everyday activities. I had 3 surgeries post. When I retired, I had 3 surgeries, so the schnoz will straighten that back up. So watch out, ladies. And then I got my back cleaned up and got my ankle cleaned out. So I'm feeling really good, and I think the risk versus reward at this point to get another year out, and something crazy happens, and then you turn 45 and you feel 60 is just not worth it for me.
Andrew, how worried should Dub Nation be with the transactions of Kevin Durant going to Phoenix and Kyrie Irving ended up with Luka in Dallas?
I think the KD one that's the more worrying one. The Kyrie, he looked very good yesterday. I saw that game. It's obviously the honeymoon period, but if they get a focus locked in Kyrie, they can definitely make some noise. And I think it just takes some pressure off Luka having to score. Having to have the 40, 20, and 10 line for them to win games, which was kind of the way it was going this season for Dallas. If he didn't have good games, and whenever he had a bad shooting night, they'd lose. So Dallas has definitely improved their defense, though. They've lost a lot of defense, so I'm not sure how they're going to rectify that. But Phoenix is the one I'd worry about. I mean, KD's, in my opinion, one of the best pure scorers of all time, and what I mean by that is there's nowhere on the floor that he has a weak spot, and he can get you a bucket from absolutely anywhere. He can post you up, he can high elbow you, he can shoot the 3, he can shoot long 2s, he can dunk on you. So whenever you have a guy like that with a squad that was kind of fringe championship a couple of seasons ago, it's going to be interesting. But I know there's some turmoil, a little bit of turmoil there culturally with Aiden and a few other guys that reared its ugly head during the season. So that can definitely make it play as well. So if they get their camaraderie right and get everything right, and they get on the same page, stay healthy, they're definitely probably one of the biggest threats now in the West.
Wow, I don't get it. I mean, passing is a skill that never goes away. All right, and you probably didn't get dumber since you retired. You're probably still a smart player, so you can help. You know how to help defend. I'm telling you, there's a void.
If the game was a half-court game, yeah, I'd agree with you. But the problem is I got to get up and down the court.
All right, hey, Andrew, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it, man.
No worries, anytime. Thank you.
All right.